Alrighty, how's it going, y'all? So the Mega Gengar battle deck came out a few days ago, and we're going to take a look at it to see what is in the deck, see if it's worth buying, as well as how we can enhance the deck. So if you're not familiar, I'll put a screenshot up here on the screen. This deck is a level 2 battle deck, and it actually comes with a full illustration Haunter promo, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish Pokemon would stop doing that with the battle decks. Battle decks are meant for players to get products, and when you add exclusive promos in these battle decks, it just makes it harder to get. So these retail around $15, but you're already seeing them for like $30 on the reselling market, and the Haunter promo is going for like $20 now. So the promo itself is going for more than the whole box. So these are unfortunately hard to get. You've also got the Mega Diancie deck, which I found harder to get than the Haunter promo. Than the Gengar box, because it's got a Meloetta promo. But yeah, if you can get your hands on it, it seems to be a pretty good deck, and we're able to get some Phantasmal Flames cards early, which is really strange. I'm surprised they released this product when they did, because Phantasmal Flames cards aren't going to be legal until 2 weeks after Phantasmal releases, and so really it won't be legal till December 1st. But it gives us a good chance to start playing with Mega Gengar. You just can't play it at the local level quite yet. Now let's see, I'm in the wrong deck. Let's take a look at the Pokemon first. Like I said, it's a level 2 battle deck, so it's got some good cards in here. Let me move my face. You don't want to see my face, you want to see the cards. Like I said, level 2 decks are good to get started on, to play with friends at home, but you certainly would not want to take a level 2 battle deck to a local competition. You're going to get smoked. And so there's good cards in this deck, but there's also some really bad, useless cards that we're going to trade out. So first, let's go over what's in the box, and then we can kind of go over what I would trade out. I've already made a duplicate deck and have played with it. It's a very good structure with some much needed enhancements. So obviously the poster Pokemon of the battle deck is Mega Gengar. Comes out in Phantasmal Flames. It will be in the set as well, so you can rip it from packs, which is fantastic. But it's got an ability. Oh, man, I wish TCG Live would get rid of this holo. It makes it so hard to read. But for Shadowy Concealment, oh, I cannot read that. If one of your dark Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack of your opponent's Pokemon EX, keyword, it's got to be an EX, that player takes one fewer prize card. The effect of Shadowy Concealment does not stack, meaning you can't do 2 of them, and they take 2 less prize cards. However, this means if your Pokemon attacks with an EX Pokemon, which include the Mega Pokemon, if it is a 1 prize Pokemon, like a Ghastly, for example, or a Monkey Dory, your opponent takes no prize cards. And it's great because Mega Gengar doesn't need to be active. It can just be on the bench for Shadowy Concealment to be affected. So really, Mega Gengar is not going to be your attacker. You want to keep it nice and safe on the bench so you can attack with 1 prizers and your opponent will not take any prizes at all. Or if you want to play with Mega Absol, it'll be a 2 prize Pokemon instead of a 3. So Mega Gengar is going to be huge going forward, and I imagine it's going to be pretty strong in the meta, but we of course won't see that until it gets legal. I don't even think it's legal in Japan right now. I think Inferno X came out. Yeah, I think it's right on the cusp of being legal in Japan, but it's not yet. So very interesting. It's unfortunate that it's weak to fighting because Mega Lucario is a very strong deck, and so this is susceptible to Mega Lucario. But again, it's a very strong deck, and it's a great ability, especially with 1 prize attackers. But let's see. For Ghastly, it is playing a 4-2-2 line with a Mega Gengar with 4 Ghastly, Petty Grudge 10, Haunter, Spooky Shot 40. So really, you're just using those cards to get up to the Gengar. You've also got Eternatus, which has for 2 Dark Energies, Shatter for 50, and you discard a Stadium and play. And for 3 Dark Energies, 130. If you flip a coin, if tails, during the next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Again, not great. A lot of these cards in this deck are not great. I would not keep them in the deck. It's just going to be bulk that's going to sit in a box. But we got Sableye with Cocky Claw. If you have any stage 2 dark Pokemon on your bench, this attack does 70 more damage. So that's 90 damage for a basic one energy attack. I don't know. It's not great. Um, Really, the best one is this Seviper right here, right out of the box. This is probably your main attacker if you're just going straight from the box as is. It's got an ability, Excited Power. If you have any Dark Mega Evolution Pokemon EX in play, this attack, or the attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage. So for 3 Dark Energies, you can do 240 damage with this one prizer. And again, if it gets knocked out, you got Gengar in play, it's no prizes. So Seviper is kind of your main attacker of this deck, as is out of the box. Next up, you got another supporter, Toxtricity. It's got a move, Sinister Surge, which you can search your deck for any basic dark energy, attach it to one of your bench dark Pokemon. You can't attach it to a Munkidori because that's psychic. But if you do, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. But you're definitely going to want a Munkidori on your bench to get those 2 damage counters off and onto your opponent's Pokemon. But that's good since Seviper uses 3 dark energies. Toxtricity allows you to boot up Seviper within 2 turns. So it's decent, but let's look at the trainers. We are getting a preview at some of the Phantasmal Flames trainers. Grimsley's move is a really great one I saw a lot in pre-release. Look at your top 7 cards, and you can put a dark Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Meaning, if you find a Gengar in your top 7 cards, you can put it straight onto your bench, if I'm reading that correctly. So, really great thing to have. Grimsley's move. It's a nice new card if you're playing a Gengar. We've also got Dawn, I believe. Yes, Dawn, a new strong card in Phantasmal Flames. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, a stage 1 Pokemon, and a stage 2 Pokemon. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So that's a great card. Dawn and Lily's Determination, I think, are going to be in a lot of decks going forward. It's incredibly strong, and it's nice that you only get one, but it's nice that we get a sneak preview of that card. You got Mega Signal for your Mega Gengar. Anything else new? We have Risky Ruins, which is from Mega Evolution. Whenever a player puts a basic non-dark Pokemon onto their bench during a turn, place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. This is a spoiler, but it's one I took out. It's not great. It's I don't know. No comment on it. It's just not my favorite. And then you got Punk Helmet, which is a new tool from Phantasmal Flames. If this dark Pokemon, or if the dark Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack of your opponent's Pokemon, put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So pretty cool. It's just your standard damage dispersion, and it does come with a Pokegear, which is nice. For some reason, I don't have many Pokegears in my arsenal, so it's nice that I was able to pick up one of these through this deck. And then, of course, 13 energies, maybe a bit too many, but you usually see that with level 2 decks where they just kind of load more energies since there's no energy acceleration within this deck, like no earthen vessels, no anything like that. So yeah, 13 energies. It's all right. It can hold its own if you're playing with friends and you're all new. But like I said, if you're taking this to a league, you're going to want to make some adjustments. So here are some adjustments I made that I would recommend maybe looking into if you want to run this Mega Gengar deck. So right off the bat, you can see the Pokemon over here. It is very, very different from how it was. It's almost nothing is the same except for the Mega Gengar. I did switch it from a 4-2-2 line to a 3-2-2. So 3 Ghastly, 2 Haunter, and 2 Mega Gengar. I've seen some people have 3 Mega Gengar, but I don't know. I don't feel the need for 3 Mega Gengar. We are also playing, if you're seeing, my main attacker will be in Zoroark, which has been very popular in the meta. It's kind of been a sleeper card. And with Mega Gengar, it becomes even stronger because now this 2 prizer in Zoroark is now a 1 prizer. So I am playing a 3-3 line of Zorua and Zoroark. Just a quick reminder, in Zoroark, its main attack, Night Joker for 2 dark energies. Choose one of your bench ends Pokemon attack and use it as this attack. So you're going to want to need another ends Pokemon, and I chose the Reshiram. So we're playing with 3 Reshiram. I've seen a lot of decks who do this strategy, only play 1 Reshiram, but that's a big risk that your Reshiram is going to be prized, especially since you really don't have another attacker other than the Inzorark. So I've got 3 Reshiram, and you have the option to either do Powerful Rage, which is 20 times damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, or Virtuous Flame for 170. So usually you're going to do the 170, and you can knock out some quick early game opponents. And if your Inzorark gets knocked out, it's 1 prize. It's not a big deal. Just put it back on the field. We're also playing a Monkey Dory, which makes sense because we're going to be moving damage counters around with poison. If you are not familiar, Monkey Dory has an ability, Adrenabrain, one of the most popular abilities right now in the current meta. If this Pokemon has a Dark Energy attached, you can move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is going to be important because we're also playing a Pekarunt EX, which has an ability subjugating chains. Once during your turn, you may switch one of your bench Dark Pokemon, except in any Pekarunt EX, to your active Pokemon. If you do, your active Pokemon is now poisoned, and you can't use more than 1 subjugating chain each turn. So this will promote our Inzorark if we need to. It's kind of like a free promotion. Kind of all of our Pokemon are dark, so really it's a free promotion for any of our Pokemon other than Monkey Dory or Reshiram. But Reshiram ideally will never be active. We don't have the right energies, and it's just there for the Zoroark's attack. But yeah, so Inzorark will be poisoned and will build up damage counters, which we can then offload with Monkey Dory. And then, of course, Fezandipity just thrown in there in case you need it. Fezandipity is good for if you're behind and you need a quick draw engine. I don't play with it too much, but it's good to have in the deck. Oh, it also reminds me, Inzorark has an ability trade. If you discard a card from your hand, you can draw 2 cards. And so that's a fantastic draw engine to help get your Gengar and your Reshiram and all the stuff you need. But let's take a look at the trainers. One important adjustment I made was binding Mochi. Binding Mochi with, since we're dealing with poison with subjugating chains, if your attacks used by your poison Pokemon do 40 more damage. So now your Inzorark does about 210 damage. So that's a really great addition that we added. We also added the Tool TM Evolution since we're dealing with more evolution-based Pokemon, so we can pop out the Zoroark really quickly, as well as the Mega Gengar. Let's see, we kept Grimsley's move, and we added an additional Dawn, so we're playing with 2 Dawns. We've got 3 Nest Ball to get the Pekarunt, to get the Reshiram, to get all the stuff we need. A Night Stretcher, in case you need to get back any important Pokemon. Mega Signal to look for that Mega Gengar, Pokegear, all that's the same. Rare Candy to evolve our Gengar quicker. 2 Arven to hopefully get our Binding Mochi and other tools we need. We already talked about that. And I added Janine's Secret Art, which choose up to 2 basic dark Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, you may search your deck for a basic dark energy and attach it to that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck, blah, 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 blah. That's great for loading up. Wait, hold on. 2 of your dark Pokemon. Oh, you can't do that with Monkey Dory, but you can do it with Zoroark, and it's good to load him up to attack. It's just an energy acceleration for your dark Pokemon, and I feel like for one, it's not taking up much real estate in your deck, but it's a good one to have if you need it in a bind. If you really need energies. Buddy Buddy Poffin, that's the same with 2. Lily's Determination with 3. Iono for Disruption, Switch, Ultra Ball. Boss's Orders. I think I added 1 Boss's Orders, and then I definitely added 2 Earthen Vessels for energy acceleration. Great for the Monkey Dory, great for Inzorark for attacking. One thing about this deck, and 8 energies. We knocked it back down to 8. So I've been playing with this deck for a little while to kind of adjust some things here and there. It's a pretty strong deck, but there may be some things we can exchange further. But I've noticed there's a lot of supporting Pokemon. So you got your Pekarunt, your Reshiram, your Monkey Dory, and your Gengar. That's 4 supporting Pokemon right there. If you add Fezandipity into the mix, that's 5. And so you're really kind of limited with building up your Zoroarks in case one gets knocked out to promote another one. So This deck really forces you to be strategic with what you add onto your bench because it can quickly be loaded up. So if you pull a really good hand early on, don't just load up your bench with a whole bunch of Pokemon. See what your opponent's playing, see what you need to do. And if you're playing a Lucario, your dark Pokemon are really susceptible to that. Let's see if Zoroark is grass. So in that case, Venusaur. If you're playing a Venusaur, you know your Zoroark are going to be knocked out really quickly. So you want to have real estate on your bench for loading up another Zoroark. So once your active one is KO'd, you can promote another one. And then again, if you're playing a Venusaur, you want to make sure you have the Gengar loaded up. Because your Zoroark's going to be knocked out quicker and you want them to take one less prize. So this deck is very important that you don't load up your bench too quickly before you kind of see what your opponent's strategy is, because there are a lot of supporters. And it's always important, if you attack with Zoroark, which you will, always have a Reshiram on the bench. You don't want to announce an attack and be like, oh shoot, I can't do anything. That attack does nothing. So the Reshiram is very, very important. Don't forget that. And then Pheasantipity, like I said, is just there. So this deck, like I said, I've been playing with it for a while. I've been adjusting it. I think it's pretty strong right now. It could definitely serve for some improvement. So I'm going to open that up in the comments. If you see anything we can improve upon this deck, let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts on this deck? Have you tried Mega Gengar? I think it's a really fun card, and it proves to be an interesting thing. I can see it being very, very annoying if you can really optimize the lack of prizes your opponent takes. Especially I can see this with like one prize decks and your opponent not taking any prizes. It can be so annoying. So let me know in the comments, what are some things you think you can add to this deck to make it even better, because it's certainly a fun one. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy playing, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.